Howdy y'all, Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee, and today on the Hermitcraft server, we are back at our castle. Goodbye Mumbo's Aquarium, goodbye Fun and Games. We're at Castle Ravenloft, where everything takes pains to struggle and suffer and wander. And, you know, some of that is my fault. You know, part of this design is it's supposed to be a terrifying murder maze, and those parts are, you know, pretty much done. I've got the overall layout. I've got some of the rooms, like this chapel, pretty much laid out the exact way Tracy and Laura Hickman envisioned them in their I6 Ravenloft supplement. Other rooms, not so much. Like, I don't even know, man. Like, this room is supposed to be full of cobwebs and stuff. I don't have a ton of cobwebs, but I could, in the very least, move these torches off the walls here. Maybe give the hint of some cobwebs or something somehow. Like, there's a better way to do every piece of this room here, this hall. So I kind of just want to get started with little upgrades to the area on things like this to keep moving things forward, because I don't know exactly when this season of Hermitcraft will end, but when folks are able to download this map, I want to have this place be as good as I can make it, right? So, this now does at least look like a busy, or not a busy, a hallway, rather than a place with a bunch of torches everywhere. This one's just a doorway, I guess. This room, well, we'll put a door in. That is a thing that we can do. We can put in doors. But we can also go and we can get some cobwebs and kind of make some tweaks to this. I don't know. Something to make this feel a little bit more forbidden. Now, this room, too, I was also thinking, like, having just these torches all over the floor. Not ideal, but for a room this large, you really have to, I guess, bury them under carpet, really. Like, if I dig down 2 blocks, am I going to be... Okay, now I'm into a wall here. Oh, but luckily the wall on this side, this is a dead space. And over on this side, this is also a dead space. So, yeah, that's actually okay if I come in here and I carpet over that with... Okay, so we got some gray carpet here. Let's get some stone blocks there. Okay, so if I put that like this, boom. That one's okay. Cool. So I'm going to have to figure out exactly what I want to do with this carpet pattern-wise, because right now this is an undesirable general shape, especially with that extra flop right there. But yeah, okay, so there is a way to do this where we can get some of these torches off the ground. We can also get some kind of up and over the things here, and kind of along the walls. Now, I think there was also supposed to be a secret passage doorway right here that leads into this hallway. In the short term, let's go ahead and put gray concrete pattern to represent that door. Furthermore, the ceiling in this room and these halls, I think, is just a little bit too high. Where does this even lead to? This leads to a stairwell here. So I'm kind of thinking what I should do is let's get some slabs and fill that in. Okay, so we'll get some slabs and some wool, and we will come back to this. Time skip. Also, I did get these cobwebs here. We've only got 21 of them, but they should do a good job of conveying the concept of this being a hall of webs. Even if we can't entirely fill the whole place in. We want it... That's better. It's not perfect, but it's better. And then better's a start. Okay. In the meantime, whoops, we can just come down here. This one, we've got all the armor like it's supposed to be. Okay. And, yeah, let's go ahead and grab some more stairs. Time skip. The sun sets once more on Castle Ravenloft, and here we are in the King's throne room. I just realized, you know, I'm just going to knock out all these torches, put glowstone underneath, you know? What's the point of having glowstone left over at the end of the season? You can't take it with you. So we're just going to kind of fill in this carpeted area here. I'm not gonna do any sort of really fancy pattern on the carpet because that really doesn't really seem appropriate. Doesn't seem like it would capture Strahd von Zarovich's fancy. But I don't know. That's just kind of my take on it. I always wanted to run a real Curse of Strahd campaign, and I kind of imagined that the best way to run Strahd with goofy people, like a lot of people I play games with are kind of funny, goofy people, right? So, you know, if I had him be like this, if I played Strahd straight as like a serious, dark, brooding, terrifying character, you know, the other people would end up just making fun of him the whole time, and he might be able to intimidate them with his, like, vampire strength and vampire whatever, but, like, he wouldn't be genuinely, if I tried to deliver Strahd in a serious, scary way to humorously oriented people, it would come across as just, like, goofy. So I was kind of thinking, like, I would almost want to run Strahd like a bored Bill Murray in Groundhog Day. Where he's just kind of talking to himself most of the time, almost. Like, so the premise of the film Groundhog Day is that this weatherman, Phil Connors, has become trapped in this small town in like a time loop. And I was thinking, like, having Strahd, who is like trapped in this, he's basically trapped in his realm by the mists, having him cling to his own sanity by talking to himself or narrating things to himself a lot, the same way that Phil Connors does in Groundhog Day. Where, like, even when he's talking to other people, he's kind of talking past them. Would be interesting and possibly frightening, in a way that him being like, I'm the Lord King Strahd or whatever, wouldn't really be scary. But, you know, like, having him basically be completely self-aware of how silly a lot of the things in the castle are, and openly mocking them while mentioning casually how dangerous they are. Like, you know, I know I keep mentioning, for example, like, oh, these chairs so the king and queen can look down on God during the church services. Like, I think that's the sort of thing that Phil Connors von Zarovich might deliver. Man, I really wish I had the opportunity to run a game like that, but it would take so much time. If anybody actually has run Curse of Strahd or Ravenloft with, you know, a more terrifyingly humorous Strahd, I would love to hear how that turned out for you and your team, because, like, that's actually, I would say, one of the things that works really well in Doctor Who about the Master. Like, the Master is very off the wall in the same way that the Doctor is, except also terrifyingly cruel. So, having a vampire lord who is just as sarcastic and humorous and goofy as the players, except a lot more murderous and kind of like, you know, so he would say something and be like, I'm just kidding, or am I? You know, it's hard to tell, I probably wouldn't do the Sesame Street count, but maybe I would. Maybe like, I think that might actually be like when he laughs at his own jokes, or he's trying to, it's like, he might say something like, you know, oh, you know, the whole castle's open to you, all the traps, all open to you, you know, just step right in, you know, it's like, I'd stay away from that hallway, though, the traps are all broken, or are they, who knows, like, man, I don't know, there's something here, I gotta brainstorm this a little further, but yeah, I also thought the idea of, one of Strahd's goals is always to try and escape Barovia, and so having him practice his accents. So, because he's like, oh, I'm planning on doing some traveling soon. You know, I've been trapped here for a few centuries, but, you know, it's time for me to go out and hit the road, you know, that sort of thing. It's like, that's, I think, there's something subtly terrifying about him having a high degree of confidence that he's going to escape soon. Because the way he would escape would be by trapping the players there forever as some sort of new Dark Lords, potentially, or something. I don't know. It's, there's something here. But, yeah. Dang it. Let's go ahead. Can I actually reach that to put that down? No, that's not right. Okay, so we're gonna come back. So somehow one of these was balanced differently than the rest. So we're gonna go 1, 2. We're gonna hop down, place that one. We're gonna put in a light here. We're gonna place this one. Dang it. Okay. Never mind. We're gonna hop down here. Place that one. Boom. Okay, there we go. Now we're talking. This is an appropriate throne room. It's much better. So can we even put a torch at normal level right there? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we've got raised torches around the doors. In fact, what I might even do is to better hint at this secret passage here is to have a raised torch above it. Nah, I'll just leave it. I think that's probably fine. The ceiling in this room is still a bit high. I'm not sure how much I want to do with that, though, because if I was going to fill in the ceiling, I would need to curve it some, like, peak it or something. Welcome back from that time skip. As you can tell, we got that carpet in, but you know what? That's okay. That's passable. What I'm really actually pretty happy with is I also came back in here and I vaulted that ceiling. You know, some people, they say, Joe, when you're going to vault something, that means you're going to jump over it. And I say, what if I'm going to vault a bank? Maybe that means I'm going to install, like, a safe with a giant dial on the side. And people might say, Joe, that's way too large a dial. Nobody needs that large a block of soap in a bank. And you know what? I'm just going to keep, you know, moving to the tune of my own drummer. I don't know if drummers have tunes. I think they might have beats. Or that might be farmers from The Office, from Shroot Farms. I don't know. Not exactly an expert in that. Although, reviewing the book Curse of Strahd by Chris Perkins, based on I6 Ravenloft by Tracy and Laura Hickman, I did realize that this particular hallway here is described as having a dark ceiling. And so what I wanted to do is replace the bone ceiling on the second floor here with some kind of dark oak wood. I thought about using obsidian or dark concrete, but I felt like this would give more of the texture that we're going to want. Dang it, these little blocks here are just not doing a great job of falling through the cobwebs. Now, some of you guys might be like, Joe, if you're going to replace a ceiling, shouldn't you do the cobwebs, like, after that? And this sounds like many, many, many good suggestions you guys give me. Yes, that is precisely how it should be done, but it is also precisely just barely too late to do that now. And so, in the spirit of it being too late to do that now, we're going to route around the damage using our diamond pickaxe to strike at these bone blocks as though they are the heavens themselves, and we are a rocket harnessing the power of the rocket equation, using our fuel to try to propel our mass to an escape velocity of excitement, creativity, and fun. I think that's what rockets are for, mostly fun, not actually a NASA employee, but whatever. Anyway, so what were we going to do? We were just going to keep striking the ceiling until we had sufficiently replaced it with such wood that it might strike fear into the hearts of players. Part of the darkness on the ceiling being actually pivotal here from a gameplay perspective is I realized that there's a, hey, don't tell the players this, there's a trap on the ceiling in this hallway, and the ceiling has to be dark in order to properly obscure it. So if, you know, we describe the ceiling as dark and it's bright, and then something jumps out at the players and attacks them, players are going to be like, what? We would have totally seen it against that ceiling. There's a kind of a cognitive dissonance thing there, where even though this is a really simplified concept of a ceiling, like this whole room, this whole space is very simplified, there's a certain level of suspension of disbelief we are willing to, like, let the players do on their own, But, like, you gotta meet them halfway on stuff like that. You can't just tell the players, hey, guys, you know, suspend disbelief, or, you know, just telling people that, hey, this is a creepy hallway with certain sounds that you can't hear. Like, whoops, that's too low. Really regretting not actually bringing an axe, you know? It's like in The Wizard of Oz, how Dorothy shows up in Oz, and she's like, dang it, I forgot my axe. And then she shows up in, you know, that one forest, and there's the Tin Woodsman, and he has an axe. And then he helps her. Except it's not at all like that, because I'm just here alone in a terrifying vampire castle, and the only one here to help me is you, and you actually are incorporeal. Or are you corporeal, but achronological? Or, no, you guys are chronological, but you're asynchronous. You know, by the time that you're watching this, it's in the past, thanks to the magic of time-shifted entertainment. Like, I mean, even Twitch.tv, you're time-shifting your entertainment by about 30 seconds. Mixer's got, you know, their sub-second delay or whatever they're always talking about, but, like, you know, dang it, it's still time-shifted. So, like the light of a distant star, you never really get to see me in action as I work. And unlike the Tin Man, who was actually physically present in Dorothy's, I was gonna say terrifying fever dream, although I'm not sure if you would consider, like, there's like some sort of play on Twister. Terrifying Twister dream. Dang it, this is the worst cobweb. At a certain point, like, I can only blame myself. Okay, we're gonna just come up here, start placing some cobwebs. Also, I'm kind of worried it might be too dark up here. That's the perfect way to do that. So we'll just throw in some extra torches. That's not the best way to do that. You know, actually, now that I'm looking at it, why don't we just do this whole thing from up here? You know, sometimes the best way to do things is to teleport into a wall, sidestep out of the wall, and then place a bunch of blocks that are otherwise unsupported over a large empty space that extends a great distance. So, you know, and that's really the philosophy, or the approach, I would say, that we're using here. So, boom, 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 boom. Look at that. We are just taking care of this like it was business, despite not being very professional at all. So, that's an excellent approach as far as I can tell. So, what we're going to do next is we're going to take some of these logs here. Go ahead and patch that. And then from there, it shouldn't be that hard to just come through and knock out the rest of these. So I think on the whole, this should greatly improve the character of this chamber and enable that suspension of disbelief that we spoke about earlier. You know, that kind of meeting in the middle, you know? It's Minecraft magic. So, okay, yeah, we are in the clear there. This is going to be definitely the way to approach this. So, let's go ahead and check out another space that we can improve. Time skip. Ding dong, ding dong. We got a belfry over here, but there's no bell. So you know what? How are you going to hear it when the hour changes? Wait, do hours actually change, or do they pass? Or do they fail? I guess it depends on how much they study. Anyway, I was thinking I could come up here in this belfry and maybe put in some sort of bell just to actually, you know, fill things out a bit. I haven't put too much thought into exactly how that should go, because, you know, that's, once again, thinking. But here's what I kind of figured. If I take some bone blocks and kind of come out in the middle here, and just put a gold thing where you can see it kind of in the windows, that might be good enough. Now, I've got about 8 gold blocks right here. So that makes me think what I should do is go down a little bit lower with the bone blocks. Oh, that's going to be hard to do. Okay, so here, we'll come out like that to there. And then that's now centered. We've centered the bell in there. And, uh-oh. Wow, 8 gold blocks is not as tall as I was hoping originally. But you know what? I think that should still be pretty okay. That's not the ideal way to hang a bell. Whoops. But you know what? I think that'll hold. There we go. The core concept, if you're down here and somebody says this is a bell tower, you look up and you see the bell. Now, you're also supposed to see the chain hanging down. So you might say, Joe, how are you going to do that? Well, let me tell you something. I brought dirt with me. Like any good Minecrafter, I am completely ready to pillar up here slightly higher than I actually needed to, and then slightly lower than I intended to, creating kind of a fool in the shower effect, except instead of about economic impact, I'm just doing a bad job at ringing these bells. Now, some people might say, Joe, is this bell a trap? Are players supposed to ring this bell and then, come to harm? It's like, well, they're not. Players aren't really supposed to do anything, but they are welcome to ring this bell if they want to see what happens. So, that's just, one more thing that we've got in our toolkit here. So, let's run back through here and replace this. Boom. Great. I want to see how that bell looks from the outside. Hopefully it looks pretty okay, because I don't really have a good way to get more gold easily. I know that somewhere on the server there are, what do you call them? Gold farms with like zombie pigments and stuff, but can you see it? Oh, you know what? Those black windows really do a good job of obscuring the contents. But yeah, it definitely gives a sense that there's something inside there that it was lacking before. Let's see, maybe if we come out further this way. It's hard to say. I mean, if you have Optifine enabled, you can see it, which I do, incidentally. But, yeah, it's good. Okay, great. Well, there we go. From Red Sky Bay at dawn to dusk, I don't know what I must say to end this episode today. So, let us play. Well, you know what, actually, I am thinking about it. I'm having fun, even though these are not dramatic changes we're making to the castle at this point. Every room we just slightly improve is actually going to make a difference. Oh, speaking of which, one other thing I did off camera was I came in here and I lowered the ceilings in these little chambers. See? Not dramatic. This is not the most exciting part of the castle for people to get involved with, in the actual gameplay. But it's still, if a player does end up in here, I want it to feel more like a reasonable kind of space. And, because, once again, your terrifying vampire murder maze should have a certain level of realism that allows the suspension of disbelief. So, yeah, just taking these little hallways here and lowering the, ceiling just a little bit just makes it feel more claustrophobic in all the right ways. So, anyway, let's go ahead and hop out. Where's the best place to hop out here? Right there. Boom. Whoa, check that out. Perfect ender pearl shot. Anyway, let's go ahead and see. Can we actually see the bell from here? No, that roof is obscuring it. I can see it now. Boom. Okay, see there. Whoa. Look at that. Perfectly executed glide. All of my Minecraft instincts are kicking in just in time for the end of the season. Anyway, until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.